Welcome back.
Oh my gosh.
We are here just a few days after.
It's crazy.
We recorded the last one.
It's so crazy.
But I think rage has brought us together.
Rage has brought us together, Christy.
Yeah, which is a thing that has brought us together historically in our friendships.
Yes.
I'm Christy.
I'm Michael.
We are Terror and Tacos. We talk about horror movies and we eat tacos a lot of the time.
We did have some delicious tacos the other night.
We did have some delicious tacos the other night. We got together because we were all kind of like, let's just get together and hang out.
You have a tiny new puppy that needed to be seen.
Yes, my friend Aspen needed to meet Stella, and so that's why you all came over. And we ended up having tacos y más,
yes,
which is always delicious.
Classic.
Oh my God, you had chicken and steak.
Brilliant.
Aspen and John had a burrito each. They didn't share one.
And Aspen she said it was like one of the best veggie burritos she's ever had.
Man, it's so good. And I had a child's crispy taco plate that came with a churro. I think we all had a piece of that churro, and it was so good.
It was, I mean, it's tacos. You can never go wrong.
You can never go wrong
with tacos y más.
I ordered it from Grubhub, but the food, I mean, I live around the corner from Tacos y Más, but it's totally worth it to get it delivered. It's always hot. The order's always right.
Inexpensive.
And, for those of you that are observing Lent, they have great fish tacos. They have great fish plates.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and they have really good fish tacos. They are delicious. So we had that. And today, I have an array of treats.
Yeah, this is amazing.
So I can't remember the name of them in Italian.
I believe it's a cornetto.
A cornetto. And I've heard them also referred to as lobster tails.
Yes, which is, I think, what my family actually called them.
Yeah, and so they're just like delicious pastry filled with pistachio cream, and they look like lobster tails. So there they are on the table for us to enjoy. You're having a Coke.
Yeah, it's a glorious Sunday.
It is a glorious Sunday. Made less glorious by the fact that we finally got to see Scream.
Oh my God.
Not too long ago, we were both, for the love of God, please just make it streaming.
And they did, Christy.
And they did.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy I didn't pay the $20.
Yeah. I believe in one episode said I would pay $50.
I know.
I would be so mad at myself if I paid $50 to watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, because, if I had paid $20, I wouldn't have even gotten Alamo Drafthouse chicken fingers. It would have just been me on my couch.
Yeah. Paying $20.
Paying $20 to watch this POS.
Yeah, man.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Absolutely. I am in agreement. I know, a lot of people out there like it.
People can like what they like.
Sure.
Clearly, they do.
But I don't have to agree with them.
But I don't have to agree with them. I mean, I just, this country thrives on mediocrity.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. For as long as I've known you, which is quite a while now, it has been a bit of a clarion call for you.
Yeah.
To rail against this, us as a collective audience being not just fine with mediocrity, embracing it, thriving on it.
Yeah. Like as long as you are in on the joke, as long as you can say, I know what they're talking about, as long as you can point to something and feel smart.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, people seem to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand storytelling. I watch a lot of murder mysteries. And one of the things about murder mysteries is that the audience, super fans, like to feel like they are solving it on the way, right?
Yeah, sure.
They like to feel like they know something. Audiences want to feel smart. You don't want to go to a movie or a play and feel like a fucking idiot.
Right.
Right? But also, wouldn't it be better if you had to work a little to feel smart?
Yes. One of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to misquote it, but one of my favorite sort of breakdowns of, I think, of what you're talking about, playwright Tom Stoppard.
Oh, Tom Stoppard?
Yes.
The Tom Stoppard?
The Tom Stoppard. I guess most people would probably know Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, but he's done a lot of that. Tom Stoppard, in an interview, I think when he was talking about Arcadia, said his, quote, 3-act approach to playwriting was, in act 1, you're smarter than the audience. In act 2, you make them feel like they're as smart as you. And in act 3, you remind them that you're smarter.
Right.
And I don't think, I mean, he is smarter than a lot of people, but it is this idea you still should have to work.
Exactly. And Wes Craven understands this.
Yes, Wes Craven did. R.I.P. is one of the greatest. Yeah, and like, you know, you're talking about the Merthyr mysteries. Mm-hmm. I am actually even okay with a show
sure.
that doesn't pretend to be something it's not, right?
Exactly.
You're comfortable with this structure. Right. We're going to give it to you. This movie thinks it's so smart. I want to punch it in the fucking face.
It thinks that it's as smart or smarter than the original.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Because there are plenty of slashers and murder mysteries and thrillers. They know exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's like, that's why Lifetime and Hallmark exist
sure.
because they're not pretending to be Basic Instinct or Fatal Attraction. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They're like, nah, we're not those.
No, we're going to give you what you want.
We're going to give you something that you can watch on Saturday afternoon while you're cross-stitching.
Yes.
And no shade, that's what I do.
No, I
embrace that.
Absolutely. It is the movie that thinks it's clever or genius or whatever, and it's like it's not even close to that.
Right. You said something a little while ago when you walked into my home already angry.
Very angry.
And I said you need to lead with that.
Yeah, so this is what I said. So obviously we're talking about Scream 2022.
Right.
Scream 5, whatever the fuck.
Who knows?
Yeah, and spoilers. Anyway, I said the original Scream in 1996 was genre changing.
Right.
There's no argument against that.
Right.
So many films that came after it in the late 90s and the early aughts, it changed the genre.
Yeah.
It changed the slasher film. So if you're going to bring Scream back and you're going to call it Scream, you're not even going to call it Scream 5, which of course they fucking talk about in the movie, change the goddamn genre.
Right.
If this is what you're proposing to do, you're the new Scream, then change the fucking genre again. Don't rehash, and not even like it's not even close to the original.
It's not even close to the original. It's not a rehashing. Like, it's not enough, spoiler, it's not enough to bring back an original character as a dark passenger.
Right.
Which, okay, that has not been done before, I guess, but it doesn't change anything, and it's not new.
No, and it doesn't even really affect the plot. And like,
no.
I also said to you, like, the original Scream, it's not just that Randy makes references to movies. That's not what makes the film great.
No.
And this movie seems to be like, well, if we throw out enough movie titles, we're gold.
Well, it's that thing that we always talk about and that I never quite know how to articulate. So you're going to have to help me. But it's that thing of like when something is really, really, really good, right? Like, for example, the first thing that jumped to my mind is Jaws, right? Mm-hmm. So when something is great, it's not necessarily a shark that's great about the movie.
Right.
It's what the shark does to the people that we care about in the movie. But then the sequels are like, well, it's about the shark. So eventually you get a shark that travels to Jamaica. Do you know what I mean?
That shark wants revenge, Christy. I don't know what your problem is.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
So people take the thing that was
that they think
is clever.
Yeah, or they think made it good, and that's not the thing.
Not, the thing that made Scream so good, we were just talking about this, like all horror movies, all stories, is that you have to like the people.
Yeah, you have to care about
You
them.
have to care about the people. You have to care about their relationships. You have to care about who they are.
Yeah.
And you said it. In this movie, the main group
core group of teens.
The core group of teens are so indistinguishable from anything else.
Yes.
That nothing makes them special. We don't know why we're following them.
Right.
Other than because they are related somewhat to the original core group of kids. And it's not even like when Emma Roberts played, that there was a reason.
Yes. I mean, and we haven't even really talked about the movie, but yeah, I'm like, this already does half the shit that Scream 4 did better. I don't even understand why this movie exists. But yeah, and I'll go back to something I bring up, I think a lot probably because I repeat myself, but like sort of old adage of writing, the more specific you make a character, the more universal that character becomes.
Right.
There is nothing specific about these children.
It's that quote that I gave, the Joseph Campbell quote, where it's like, there's nothing wrong with rehashing. I mean, Lucas rehashes,
of course,
ancient myths and
would never pretend he didn't.
Would never pretend he didn't. And Joseph Campbell says, when you take the ancient myths and you apply them to your personal experience, you create the new mythology.
Yes.
But in order to do that, you have to make it personal.
Yeah. And
nothing about this is personal.
No, I mean, like you said, these children are indistinguishable. They
could be anybody.
Could be anyone. There's nothing specific about them as individuals.
Right.
Their relationships are not.
So what are we talking about? Specifically, we're talking about, so let's talk about the characters in OG Scream, right?
Okay.
Jamie works at a video store. He's the video store kid, and he's
Randy. Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy. But Randy, like, he knows about movies because he works at the video store. That's a big thing in the movie.
Yeah, and was also a very specific thing to the 90s.
Yes. Then you've got the sibling relationship between Dewey and Tatum, right? Rose McGowan
Glorious.
and David Arquette. So believable, so real in a small town. You've got the relationship between Stu and Tatum. Like, they are so recognizable as high school boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yes.
You care about Sydney and Billy.
Yeah,
you care about them.
You do, and you care. And I also think you care about Sydney and Tatum as best friends.
Right.
Like, they actually have a lovely fucking relationship.
Right.
And Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original Scream, gives us time with where Ghostface is not the thing. Where we get to see Sydney and Tatum being friends.
Right.
Where we get to see
Billy and Sydney being boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. And then when we get to see them as a group. And Randy, in addition to being the font of all horror knowledge, which is what his niece serves in this film.
Why, though?
I don't know.
She doesn't work in a video store.
I didn't realize that knowledge of horror movies was passed down genetically on your maternal side. Randy is also in love with Sydney.
Right.
So he fucking
He has a reason to hate Billy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of and then even on the sort of other romantic plot, which is the flowering of Dewey and Gail's relationship, is oddly sweet.
Yeah.
And there's an arc to it. She uses him. I mean, that's how Gail starts with Dewey in the original.
Right.
She uses him. And then
she
falls
comes
for him.
around. Yeah.
And they shouldn't work. She's a high-powered journalist or whatever.
Right.
And he's a small-town cop. But like by the end, you're like, yeah, man.
Yeah, those two belong together.
And then they got married in real life. Good on them for still being friendly enough to work together. But so these are all those things. None of that exists in this film. And so, okay, we're back in Woodsboro in Scream 2022.
Right.
We start with what will clearly be our first kill. I texted you. You watched this before me.
I did. I was like 20 minutes ahead of you.
And I said, just started, already annoyed by the landline.
Right.
Why is there a landline in this house?
I have no idea. I mean, the mother of this child is supposed to be my age.
Yeah.
And I don't have a landline.
No. And
nobody has a landline.
No, I said even my mother, who is in her 70s, no longer has a landline. Right. So why I was like, why is there a landline?
Because there was a landline in the first one.
So we got to have a landline.
We got to have a landline. Because, but the other thing, and the thing that I mentioned to you was like this little thing that they do at the beginning of the Scream movies. Wes Craven knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. He was doing a very specific callback. Ooh, that's crunchy. You got to do that in the mic. We're eating one of these lobster tails. I'll get back to what Wes Craven was doing, but now I'm going to bite it because I got to do it in the mic. Here we go. Oh my God.
ASMR. That's so fucking good.
Anyway. Sorry, y'all. We took a break for lobster tail. Not real lobster tail. Pastry lobster tail. Anyway, Wes Craven knows exactly what he's doing. It's a specific callback to Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Psycho, where you've got Janet Leigh, a very famous, beloved actress, who is set up to be the lead of this movie. For those of you that don't know, I find it crazy that you might not know.
I find it disturbing.
Yeah. And then about 15 minutes into the film, Janet Leigh gets killed. Yeah. Right? So then you're like, what the fuck? Who am I supposed to follow?
What is happening?
The first Scream does the very same thing. Drew Barrymore, beloved actress of the 90s.
Yes.
Sets her up to be the lead of this movie. Not even 10 minutes into the film. She's dead. Dead horrifically.
Horrifically. And I know you and I talked about this, but I do want to bring this up. So I have a friend who I've brought up on the show before. Her name is Jamie. We went to grad school together. Jamie is wickedly smart and has an encyclopedic knowledge of horror movies. It's actually like daunting. She posted a thing after she watched this Scream, and I didn't read it until last night because I didn't, wanted to wait, wanted to make my own judgments.
Right.
And Jamie brought up something that I thought was absolutely dead on. She broke down the first kill, the Drew Barrymore kill, and why it works so effectively. It's not, we might just remember Drew Barrymore gets killed. Okay. He builds, Craven and Williamson, they build tension throughout. She talks about her boyfriend's going to come save her, right? Boom, cut to outside, her boyfriend taped up. Her boyfriend gets fucking gutted. The popcorn or the Jiffy Pop or whatever that stuff is called. Not
Jiffy Pop. It is Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, it's like
burning.
We know it's going to burn. When she finally, after the battle with Ghostface, that is tense as fuck, she makes it outside. She's trying to survive. And her parents are driving up. And the last thing you see is this teenage girl reaching desperately for her mother and father who can maybe save her. She gets fucking horrifically killed and her parents discover her hanging from the tree. Boom, title, welcome motherfuckers.
Right.
I have been emotionally kicked in the gut by watching Drew fucking Barrymore die and be discovered by her parents.
Yeah.
It's not just, it's a first kill.
Right.
And then this is just like, this is nothing.
Who is she?
We don't know who she is. There's no tension. She ends up not getting killed, right? I mean, that's sort of the twist.
Whole thing.
That's the twist.
That's the twist.
It's just like, he burst through the door and here he is. There's no emotional attachment. There's no building of tension or pressure. And this is just like, this is why Wes Craven is a fucking master and not just a generic director.
Right.
And Williamson deserves credit too, because he created a lot of characters that you actually give a shit about.
Right.
And
so then after this girl gets attacked, I totally agree with everything you just said. Your friend just said, absolutely correct. After this girl gets attacked, and then it like smash cuts to like the sister in another town, right?
Yeah, who seems significantly older.
Yeah. And she's having a conversation with her boyfriend about having to go back, whatever. In those, I think I texted you in those like very first scene with that, I was like, I know who it is.
Yeah.
I know exactly who it is.
I mean, so you're talking, are you maybe 11 minutes into the movie?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
And you already know who the killer is.
I already know who the killer is.
Or at least one of them.
Which is fine. And it's like, we both know there was going to be someone else.
Sure.
We both knew there was going to be someone else.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit. But then it was like, it's this other person. But I want to bring up your point about the other person in a little bit.
Yes.
And the thing that it was not a plot thing, but it was just filmmaking thing that drove you crazy about who the other killer is.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not bad. It wasn't bad that I called it. It was just for when we finally figure out who it is, you don't really get a good reason for it other than fuck you, millennial, or like, fuck you, super fan.
And I don't know that it's a problem. Look, it's not a problem that you called it. And sometimes you just call it. And look, we watch enough of these movies, but like, I actually do think it eliminates, any tension in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to call it that early.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you don't have to tell us that early who it is.
You should question in your mind at least, like, oh, I think it's him.
Right.
I think it's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son. I think
he's really good.
Yeah, he's great.
Nothing against him.
No,
he's a really good actor.
He is. I thought the highlight of the film.
Yeah, I mean the reason I knew it was so clear, it was so obvious. Like they're talking about
they give it away.
Woodsboro, right? Whatever, and he immediately says, "I'm not familiar with those movies." And then within the same scene, he drops 2 titles.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, well, he's the guy.
Well, he's the guy.
Yeah, and he also is the son of 2 famous people, so he's probably the guy.
He's probably exactly. But not for the reason that I thought he was going to be.
No,
the guy.
your reason's way better.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, so we meet them. We meet older sister, who is our protagonist, right? Sam.
Samantha Carpenter.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, here's the other thing. You can't just name a few characters, Wes and Carpenter, and then think that you're super clever.
Yeah, I know, man. And like...
Okay, nice shout out.
Yeah,
make
great.
a good movie.
Yeah, and you kill Wes off like a punk.
Yeah.
Like a fucking punk.
Like a fucking punk.
She's estranged from her family, right? Mm-hmm. Sam. She's got to go back to town to check on her sister who's been attacked. They haven't spoken in 5 years or whatever. The boyfriend
Richie.
Yeah, Richie. Jack Quaid. I mean, come on, man.
It's Jack Quaid.
You're a star, Jack Quaid. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know why you're doing this.
Yeah, right. He's like, I'm going to go with you. And then you're like, well, of course you are because you're the fucking killer.
Because you're the fucking killer.
They go back. She reconnects with her sister. There's obviously tension. And then in a bullshit, terribly written expository monologue, we learn that she is Billy Loomis's illegitimate child.
Right.
Billy Loomis being Skeet Ulrich,
right,
one of the killers from the first one.
Got some Mexican girl pregnant in high school.
Yeah. She won't be named. It's unimportant.
She won't be named. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And even that is like so inorganic and badly written. I mean, the first thing I texted you was like, why didn't they just hire Kevin Williamson?
Right.
Like, you have to pay him anyway.
Yeah.
You have to pay him executive producer credit and creator credit.
Right. So then we get this thing where it's like Samantha Carpenter is fighting the ghost of her father. Right? Literally.
Yes. A de-aged Skeet Ulrich.
You don't need to de-age Skeet Ulrich. He's a good-looking man.
Guy's so damn handsome.
Maybe it's because they felt like, well, Skeet Ulrich in the movie dies at that younger age.
Yes, and he would not have aged. Sure.
Sure, but whatever. Anyway, so he's like our dark passenger.
Yes.
Right?
She sees him in the mirror.
Could have been interesting, but I like your idea better. Like if they had really pushed further into who am I going to be?
Yes.
Am I going to be Sidney Prescott or am I going to be Billy Loomis?
Yes. Is what has sway, genetics or who you are? Can you I mean, that's a classic story, right?
Instead of just like,
can you shake off the sins of your father to become a hero?
Right.
I mean, that's
exactly. That's fucking mythic.
Yeah.
Right there. Instead of it just being an excuse for at the end of the movie, the imaginary ghost of your father points at the knife.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
Yeah. Come on, man.
And then Winky.
Come on. And like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to jump back real quick.
I'm sorry.
No, you got it right. I'm going back to the beginning.
Oh, okay.
To the first scene of this film. When she gets the call from, the caller, right? Do you like scary movies? Also, God, that guy's voice is fantastic.
Yeah.
She talks about all of the elevated horror she's into, right? She's like, her favorite movie's Babadook. She's into The Witch. She's into Hereditary and It Follows. Cool. I actually was like, if you truly want to be meta, and I'm not the only one, I saw this in multiple reviews, so I was like, oh, I'm not the only one. So then, if you truly want to be meta, which you obviously want to be, when Drew Barrymore talks about Halloween and dumb blondes with big breasts getting chased, she is that thing.
Exactly.
Right? That's the joke. That's the meta-ness of it. Okay. Then if you have a young woman talking about elevated horror, Hereditary, The Witch, all of these things, make a goddamn elevated slasher movie.
Right.
That's fucking meta. Just referencing movie titles is not fucking meta.
Right.
That's not what that word fucking means.
Right.
So anyway, Sorry.
That is so, I mean, that's how you would change the genre.
Of course. Yes. I'm not saying I have a solution, but how does Scream become The Witch? How does Scream become Midsummer or Hereditary or even It Follows, which It Follows does do a twist. It's a simple twist. Instead of staying pure, you have to fuck. That's the only way you can survive, right? Okay.
Right.
So do something different. Elevate the genre, which Craven and Williamson did fucking 20-something years ago. 26, yeah. All right, sorry, I know I sidetracked. So where are we? She comes back. She sees D.H. Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah, she sees D.H. Skeet Ulrich, and he's like, "You're me. Are you scared to become me?"
Yeah.
And of course, she's scared to become him. And then
Why so handsome, Christy?
he's so handsome. But so anyway, the other thing that really kind of not necessarily confused me, but I was just kind of like, I was not expecting that twist. So the younger sister, of course, she's angry at her sister for having left them, right? So in the hospital, she confesses in this horrible monologue about being Billy Loomis's daughter.
Yeah.
And the younger sister is angry at her. I don't know why that didn't make sense to me. She's in the hospital. She almost got killed. Her sister's back. Her sister confesses something to her that is horrific in her own mind.
Yeah.
And the sister, I don't know, just the sister saying, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Just didn't make sense to me as kind of like a sisterly thing to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of this film is devoid of logic. Also, side note, does anyone work in this goddamn hospital?
No.
I mean, that
was the other thing. That drove me nuts.
Fucking crazy.
It drove me crazy.
You don't even have a fucking nurse or...
Right. But then here's the thing, because you go back to something like Halloween 2, right? Where you and I talk about all the time. It's like, there's nobody working in Halloween 2. There's nobody working in that hospital. Right. I'm like, the whole movie, there were these little moments of like, are they just referencing other movies
that take place in hospitals?
Are they just referencing like Halloween 2 because there was nobody in that working but that's still not enough.
No, and even in Halloween 2, people are on call, but they're like busy trying to fuck or get high or drink because it's Halloween.
In the physical therapy room.
Yeah, you see them. Yes. Yeah. You see, there is literally nobody.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no doctor. There's nothing. There's just a 15-year-old girl in her own wing of the hospital.
Right.
Because I know y'all had money for extras.
I mean, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, God, you did.
So anyway.
No.
So she sends a sister away.
It just didn't make sense to me logically. Like, you don't understand why they're close, why they were close, why they will ever be close.
Right.
Because the sister is so quick to just dismiss this thing.
This huge thing. So Samantha, Sam and her boyfriend, Jack Quaid.
The killer.
Absolutely the killer. She's like, we got to find someone to help. And so they go find Dewey.
Right.
Dewey is now...
He's no longer the sheriff.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic.
He's been asked to step down.
Yeah, he's living in a trailer.
Right.
Pining over Gail, who now hosts basically Good Morning America.
Yeah. In New York.
They go.
And so it's important to say that the new sheriff is, what's her name?
Yeah, Judy or whatever.
Judy.
Who was a deputy in part 4.
Right. Yeah. And she is Wes's mom. Wes's mom. Wes is
one of the generic
teens.
Yeah. He's the one with blonde hair.
I see.
This is how we define teenagers. He has blonde hair, and then the other girl has.
I get it.
Then there's one with a pink streak.
Right.
And then one's a jock.
Right. And then 2 of them are biracial.
Yeah. So that's how we define it.
And the new final girl is Latina.
By physical appearance. So they go to Dewey. Dewey's like, get the fuck out. So, okay. So Dewey's Han Solo.
Right.
Now. So Dewey, this is now The Force Awakens. She is Rey. And they reference The Force Awakens, so why the fuck not?
Yeah, why not?
She's Rey, he's Han Solo. So we know he's going to fucking die.
Right.
Because there's nothing bolder than taking a character you didn't create and fucking killing him off.
Right. A beloved character.
Yeah, suck it, Gen X.
Right.
Which, anyway, yeah. But of course, Dewey's like, I'm not going to help you. And then you're like, well, you know Dewey's going to help.
Right.
And so he does. And then he's like, the thing is, it's always someone you know, right? That's the rule. It's always someone you know. And so then we go and meet. They all sort of go and interrogate this group of teenagers. Yeah. Where they are, I mean, again, I'm not blaming any of the actors. I only blame the writer and directors.
Right.
They are so unlikable.
Yeah.
They don't seem to give a shit about each other. And even the brother and sister, look,
twins.
I'm a sibling. I'm married to a twin. I understand, like, sometimes it's far more interesting going back to Tatum and Dewey.
Right.
When of course you bicker and fight like fucking children.
Right.
Because you're siblings. But
then you have each other's back.
Yes. No one has anyone's back.
No.
They're just like, well, you're not even important. Your mom was in like the fucking sequel.
Right.
And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why do I kill them all?
Yeah.
Fucking kill them all.
Kill them all.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it was like that, the scene where the other killer, we don't know yet, goes down to the basement for more beer, just like the scene where, Tatum goes into the basement. And we have one of the twins follow them down, and they have this scene where there's no tension.
No.
It's just more referencing
Yeah.
the previous films and what horror slasher movie rules are supposed to be. But we do, like, for 2 seconds I thought, oh, are they in a relationship together? Are they going to be in a relationship? Should I care about them? Is one of them protecting the other? Because
what are their names?
But it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. All they do is talk about
how you're not supposed to go into the basement by yourself.
It's just, and man, even going back to the Tatum thing, when you truly do care about her, right?
Yeah.
And then that death is fucking staggering.
It's brutal.
It's a goddamn garage door while she's trying to escape.
And she's hanging there all night.
And she's trying to escape through a doggy door.
Yeah. So that when Sydney discovers her later, it's devastating.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating. So then we leave, we meet the teens, Dewey and Sam and Jack or whatever. I'm just calling him Jack now. Yeah. It's just Jack Quaid. They just go off. And then we basically watch Wes get killed in the shower, which is, I guess, a Psycho reference. And even mention Psycho. Like,
they do all the things, right? The what's her name his mom goes to get dinner. He takes a shower. The mother gets the phone call in the car from Ghostface. Leads her to believe that he's in the house, gonna kill the son. She turns around, turns on the sirens, goes back. It was She gets killed in the front yard.
Yeah.
He's trying to set the table, and they do all the things. The doors opening, the dark doorways in the back, cabinets opening and closing so that you think something's going to pop out.
Yeah.
And it never does. Several times.
Right.
Until he just gets killed.
And then he just gets killed.
Really brutally.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, the kills in this movie were bloody and brutal.
And that one, I think, was maybe the best.
Yeah.
The way Wes gets killed, just visually and gore effects wise. But again, I don't care. I don't care. And so
because what was he to what was the little girl's name? I don't even remember.
Which little girl?
Samantha's sister?
Tara.
Oh, Tara.
Yeah.
I don't even were they boyfriend and girlfriend?
Who knows? I mean, there's no, these kids seem to share, they seem to just utterly disdain each other.
Yeah.
And not in a fun, we banter way. We're just cruel.
Yeah.
Like we are, it's so insane to me.
Like the girl with the pink streak. Like, who even was she?
She was Randy's nephew's girlfriend.
But
don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't care.
Because for 2 seconds we're led to believe that she's the other killer.
Right. Sure. because someone says she is.
Yeah, because someone says you don't come from anywhere or something like that.
Yeah, and it's
you're
like,
what?
There's just, again, nothing interesting about any of them. So eventually, look, they have to go back to the hospital, and no one works at the hospital. And this is we know Dewey's gonna die.
Right.
And so this is a scene that drives me crazy on many, many levels. They fight. So it's Sam, the boyfriend, who we already know is one of the killers.
We know.
Dewey, and then Tara, and then Ghostface shows up. So it's the other killer, right?
In this abandoned hospital. Dewey shoots this killer multiple times at close range, leaves. They're going to escape through the elevator. He says, oh, you have to shoot him in the head or they come back. And you're like, well, we're about to lose Dewey. Right.
He goes in, he's about to shoot Ghostface in the head, and his phone rings. And I despise coincidence. It is the crutch of hacks.
Yeah.
And that drove me fucking crazy. Not to mention, he shot what we will find out as a kid, of course.
Right.
Multiple times at close range. This child who
is a 90-pound kid.
Yeah. I mean, and is shorter than I am, which is saying something. When we see her later, she's fucking fine.
She's fine.
So was she in a full sort of Kevlar? Like,
yeah, like
what?
I didn't understand that. I mean, for me, like I didn't even think that far, Michael. I was like, when you mentioned that to me, I was like, oh yeah. The thing that did it for me was the Ghostface in that scene was so tall.
Yes.
Taller than Dewey.
Yes.
Or as tall as Dewey.
And David Arquette is a normal tall grown man.
Is a tall grown man.
Yeah.
And then when you find out who the other killer is, you're like, no.
So she was in Kevlar and on stilts?
And stilts. She's wearing some...
She moved real well in those stilts and Kevlar.
Gene Simmons boots. I don't know. She was really tall.
Yeah. And
also shot several
many times. So then, yes, Dewey fulfills his role as Han Solo, and a beloved character is killed.
This child is able to overpower a grown man who used to be sheriff. Right?
Yeah.
Even though she's been shot several times.
Yeah, and is
tiny. But she can overpower this man and disembowel him.
Yes. This grown-ass man. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Do we ever find out why the asshole guy gets killed at the beginning of the movie?
He is, I believe, tangentially related to Stu Macher.
This is what I thought.
Yeah.
But
Stu is Matthew Lillard.
And completely ignored in this film.
Yeah, dude. Which is really shameful.
I thought
he's a goddamn genius.
Because he's a fucking goddamn genius in the original Scream.
Yes.
And
the new Twin Peaks.
Yes. And I thought when I had called that Richie was going to be the killer.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out the whole movie. How is Richie related to Stu Macher? Right?
Yeah.
Is the only thing that I could
that would make
any sense to me.
Yeah.
And you never find out because that's not what it is.
Right.
And I was like, why did he kill the guy at the beginning? But I guess I didn't catch that guy was related.
It's like one line. It's said in one line when they're at the house. And even that is like, it's a throwaway.
Because I thought, maybe they're both related to Stu Macher and one of them recognizes the other. And so he has to get killed.
Yes. Or something.
But that would have taken thought.
That would have taken thought instead of one line. Yeah. It's so
let's get to it.
Yeah. So Dewey is dead. Gail has come back. Sydney has come back because Dewey contacted them, said don't come back. And of course they did.
So Sydney comes back because Dewey dies.
Yeah.
Right.
And Gail comes back. So now we have our quote legacy characters. They're back. They're going to team up with our new protagonist, Sam, to end this, right?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my God. this is what the movie hinges on. This is what the plot of The Killer hinges on. Killers.
Yeah, this really pisses me off.
They go and get the little one, Tara, from the younger one. Sorry, she is little though.
She's little.
From the hospital. Sam is like, we're getting the fuck out of town. Sorry, Sydney and Gail. This is your thing. I'm getting out.
Yeah.
They're like, he's going to follow you. It'll never stop. You got to kill
Right.
him. She's like, fuck this. I'm out. They are leaving Woodsboro, right? They are leaving. They're getting out. Tara, who we know is asthmatic because she uses an inhaler in the first scene, realizes her inhaler is gone, then says before they leave town, they have to go to a friend's house, one of the girls that we've met, to get an inhaler.
The hateful girl.
The hateful girl. Then they can leave. Aspen Taylor, wife / asthmatic, just goes, that's a fucking maintenance inhaler. It's not a rescue inhaler. She will be fine. Why the fuck are they going back to this house for an inhaler? And
It was such a stupid plot
I was
device.
like, it is such a stupid plot device that later the killer will hold up the inhaler and say, I can't believe this worked.
Yeah.
Neither can I, dude.
Fuck you, audience.
Yeah. It's so fucking stupid. It is so fucking stupid. And in the first one, they bring everyone together because Stu
Is throwing the
is
party.
throwing the party. Stu is one of the fucking killers, we
Right.
will discover, and has arranged for everyone to be there.
Right.
Not this. Got to go get an inhaler
And the person happens to live at
at Stu Macher's house.
old
Yeah.
house.
It is.
So it turns out, they go to the friend's house. She moved into this house.
Yeah.
Realized or found out or learned that this is Stu Macher's old house.
Right.
And becomes obsessed with the story.
Yeah. And so she's.
Goes to like those Reddit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then it becomes like a discussion on toxic fandom.
Right.
But when she is revealed as the second killer, she is so inconsequential in this movie. It's like, who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? The Billy reveal is fucking genius because one, you think Billy's fucking dead. Also, remember when Scream happened, we didn't think in terms of there being two killers.
Right.
We thought in terms of there being one, right?
And we actually like Billy.
Yes. And
I did, anyway.
And you've suspected him, you go back and forth, and then Billy gets fucking killed. And so the reveal of Stu and Billy, two people we have followed the whole film that we give a shit about. This girl, who the fuck is she? Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares about any of this?
Right. So the reason that she's related to our killer this time around is because our killer, Jack Quaid, is a super fan
of the Stab
original
films.
Stab film.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, oh, so are the filmmakers now poking fun at super fans and our hatred of fan fiction?
Yeah. Yes, I think, and they even talk about that. And this goes to another huge fucking problem I have with this movie. They spend so much time addressing criticism they know they're going to get, as though that means criticism won't be warranted.
Right. I said to you, and maybe this is like, I wish they hadn't used being self-referential, lazy, and predictable to be self-referential, lazy, and predictable.
Right. Just because you talk about it doesn't justify it.
Right.
Just because you have a character say, I can't believe this worked, doesn't mean it should have worked.
Right.
It means you're a shitty fucking writer.
Right.
Or at least you were this time.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
Like, are we expected to be like, oh, well, this is where the franchise is, so this is what they're doing, so I should just accept it as good?
Right. Right.
And it seems to be that's what people are doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, everything about this film is lazy. And I actually, I will, in the end, Sydney and, yeah, they all team up and kill the two of them.
So what is it? Yeah. So it happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And there is a moment where pretend ghost Billy Loomis literally points at the knife that fell behind the curtain or something, so that Samantha Carpenter is able to reach the knife and kill the killer.
Yeah. Oh, and she says, and I have a new rule: don't fuck with the daughter of a serial killer.
Right.
And then she brutally
stabs
Jack Quaid.
Yeah. Stabs Jack Quaid. And then what's her name? I don't even remember her name.
No, because she's inconsequential.
Yeah, comes running out of nowhere and they shoot her in the face.
Yeah. And she was on fire because she fell on the stove.
Right.
Which I think is a double reference to maybe the Jiffy Pop and Freddy Krueger.
I guess.
It's like double the Craven. Oh my God, you referenced 2 Craven movies.
Right.
Wow.
They also referenced Jamie Lee Curtis in a subtle way. Once Samantha decides that she's going to go out of town, that she's going to leave, she says something to Sidney Prescott where she's like, I'm not going to be a grandma shooting the killer, or like something like that. And I'm like, okay. Yes. All right. I know you know movies.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. We all do.
This does nothing. It does nothing. All you do is list shit. It's fucking terrible. Mm-hmm. So the twins live because the twins also were supposed to be brutally murdered. The twin, the boy twin gets killed.
No, he lives.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
I thought it was when he was looking for his girlfriend.
Yeah, he was looking for his girlfriend, so he's out. He gets fucking stabbed in the
but he's alive.
Artery.
Okay.
Yeah, like he gets stabbed in the thigh.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So then we get the same scene as Randy.
Yeah.
In the living room.
Yes.
Watching the thing, which in the original is brilliant. And in this one, it's just a rehash.
It's also brilliant. Like
he's also brilliant because he's saying, "Watch out, Jamie."
And his name in real life is Jamie.
In real life is Jamie.
I mean, that is working on a whole other level.
Right.
This is her watching Stab, which is also a reshot Stab.
Right.
Like the brilliance of when they show Stab in like Scream 4 is that it looks absolutely dated.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
This doesn't.
So she gets stabbed, right? And she's the one that knows all about movies because she inherited it.
Yeah, it's passed down genetically through your mother. Yeah.
So then after all that happens and everybody's being taken to the hospital, they're bringing out the girl twin on a stretcher.
Yeah, that's right.
And then she
does
a what's up to her brother who is in another ambulance.
Yeah.
So he lives.
Yeah, so they can come back for part 6.
I guess.
Or, I don't know, Scream 22, 2023. I don't know.
Even though it seems like he was brutally murdered.
I thought he was, yes, of course.
I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But he survived, I guess.
Great.
And so then, what is it? Gail and Sydney are sitting at the ambulance. She goes over there and she says, "Thank you," or something, right?
Yeah, and then she's like, Sam says, am I going to be okay? And Sydney says, eventually, basically.
Right.
And we end with basically the same shot that the first one ends with a reporter. But the brilliance of the first one is it's Gail, who has just survived all of this, picks up her fucking microphone.
And gets to it.
This is some random lady.
This is just some random lady.
It's at the end, I mean, I grew angrier. So I just wanted to read, this is from the New York Times.
Please.
Written by Jeanette, I think Katsoulis. I'm sorry if I said her last name wrong. This is how she starts her review. And I was like, well, she nailed it. Throttled by a corrosive self-awareness, the latest Scream is a slasher movie with resting smug face, so enamored of its own mythology that its characters speak of little else. And then she finishes with, wearingly repetitive and entirely fright-free. Scream teaches us mainly that planting Easter eggs is no substitute for seeding ideas.
It's so true, because I really wasn't scared.
At all.
And that is the test.
There's And I read another review that's like, it's not scary or funny.
No.
And the brilliance of the first one
is that it's hilarious and then
scary.
It punches you in the gut with fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not. I mean, I think, we had gotten together night before last. You came over.
Yeah, to eat tacos y mas and Aspen met the puppy.
And,
I had already met the puppy.
Right.
We're friends.
But we were all sitting around and I just turned, what did I put on?
Annabelle Creation?
I put on Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
And there were legitimately
frightening
moments in Annabelle Creation that were fucking scary.
Yeah.
And I was sitting last night after the movie and I was like, how is Annabelle Creation scarier
than this?
Than Scream?
Yeah. And I think it is, again, these people have made other movies. I mean, they made Ready or Not. Like, they've made a hit horror movie. It's like a complete lack of attention to what makes something scary.
It's the thing I'm telling you. It's watching Jaws and thinking that the Jaws is the thing that created the horror.
Right.
And it's not. It's watching The Thing, right?
Right.
And thinking that it's the creature that is what is and the thing that's terrifying is the fact that you don't know who to trust.
Right.
The thing that's terrifying in Jaws is that this is like what it's turning everybody into, and that it is a thing that you're not used to. I don't even know what I'm saying.
No, it's what you said at the beginning. It's the frightening thing is what it does to the people. Mm-hmm. And if you don't care about the people, it won't be frightening.
Right.
And look, I mean, even their relationship, Sam and Jack Quaid, we meet them. We don't learn anything about their relationship.
No.
Even if you go back to Sydney and Billy, and they're younger.
Yeah, that was my other question. I'm like, what? Did he coincidentally just meet Sam Carpenter?
He said she was easy to find in Modesto. That he has one line about how he tracked her down, and then he's like, and it was easy to fuck you. And I'm like, well, if you look like Jack Quaid, probably.
But wait, so did he know that she was Billy Loomis's? How?
I guess from Reddit or whatever. The two killers, when they talk about the they met each other online.
Toxic fandom.
They knew this girl. I don't know how anyone else knew she was Billy. Like, even that, I was like, how do we know she's Billy Loomis's
that's what I'm
illegitimate
asking.
Child?
Yeah.
Who did she tell?
If nobody knew, like if it were on the Reddit pages and all that stuff, then how did the little sister not even suspect?
It's like,
or anybody.
Or maybe, I guess the little sister then maybe told her friend, I found this out about my older sister. This is why she left. Jack Quaid tracked the girl down.
Yeah, but the little sister was surprised. She didn't know.
Right. She learns in this movie.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. This is fucking stupid. And like, again, and also I know nothing about there's nothing in their relationship that's interesting. Mm-mm. Again, I know they're older. They're in their 20s, clearly. They're not teens like Billy and Sydney. But like Billy and Sydney's relationship has an arc.
Yeah.
Like a clear, very high school, but arc.
Yeah.
This is nothing. There's nothing interesting about this film at all. I can't say it in any other way, I guess.
There's part of me that's like, do these filmmakers feel the same way we do, and they're just like feeding into it, and they're sitting on their bags of money going, ha ha, we did it? Or I give them too much credit. I'm like, I don't think they're that clever.
No, part of me believes they set out to, I have to think they set out to honor the first one and just failed at every turn. Because I think, like you said, they don't know what actually made the first Scream as brilliant as it is.
Right.
It's not just references to Halloween.
Right.
It's not what makes it a good movie.
Right. And it's not necessarily that Ghostface kills people brutally.
Right. It's not.
It's not. It's the tension.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It is the tension, and like even the fact that like in the original Scream, it's one of the first slasher movies where you see a fallible slasher. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sydney.
It's true.
Sydney kicks I don't know which one it is, Stu or Billy, like kicks one of their asses
in the very first time that she comes across them.
Yeah, and Tatum does the same before she gets it. Like, and then you're like, of course, they're teenage boys.
Right.
Like, they're not Michael Myers. Right. They're not some supernatural or borderline supernatural evil, right? So, but this adds nothing. No. It just adds nothing.
Well, apparently in this one, they are some sort of supernatural evil because that girl grew 10 inches
and got shot nine
times and was fine. Unstoppable.
Yeah. I just don't. And so look, even if they had the purest of goals and love of the film, it just comes off as like I think smug was the best word. Smug fucking money grab. And you and me and
land grab.
Cameron, it's total land grab. At a land grab, I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Cameron, you and I, our friend Cameron, we were sort of going back and forth on Facebook just about all of the, all of these shows that just are from our
youth,
are the youth or whatever. And I was like, it really just comes off to me. I think I said, it's like, hey, Gen X, you have teenage kids. Look what we made for you. Eat it.
Right.
Eat all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with rehashing or with taking properties and like trying to inject new life into them or whatever. But like, at least other franchises, I think, have been clever about it and gotten good writers. Like I know Cobra Kai isn't everybody's favorite, but I actually really like Cobra Kai because Cobra Kai shows you a totally different side of who your main characters were.
Yeah.
And they're not likable. And like they have changed and evolved.
And it also, I think, plays with things stylistically. Like there are things that happen in Cobra Kai that if they happened in Karate Kid would have made no sense.
Right.
You're just like, wait, what? They're in Vietnam fighting in a snake pit? What is happening? Yeah,
but
this doesn't do that. No. This again spends so much time defending itself against criticism it knows it's going to get, but that criticism is warranted.
It's totally warranted.
Do something new. I also read one other thing that I thought was extremely interesting. They didn't hate it nearly as much as I did, but they used this movie, Scream 2022, and The Matrix Resurrection, whichever the last Matrix title was, which I also saw, and said, we have reached the point, basically, this is what happens when stories don't end. Right. And that is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And this writer says, ultimately, like if you go back to the fucking Greeks, ultimately, you have to have some catharsis or you have to undercut catharsis. And if a story never ends, we never get that.
Yeah.
And so this is the writer, says it just becomes a Sisyphean task to even watch.
Yeah.
Here's Sydney again.
Right.
Rolling the ball up the hill.
Right.
Great.
She's not going to win.
And they've already greenlit another one.
So yeah, I don't know. I do. That's why I've always thought that the Brits do television much better than we do because they end their shows like after 2 seasons or 3 seasons. It's like, that's it.
Stories told.
Yeah. Like telenovelas also do the same thing in Latin America. Like telenovelas are only like, I don't know, 26 episodes long. And
that's it.
And then they're done.
Stories told. Yeah. I saw an interview with a British writer. I can't even remember who it was. It was recent. And they were talking about they were wrapping their show up after 3 seasons, 19 episodes. And he's like, he points out, this Brit, he's like, might have been Gervais or something, I don't know. And he's like, that's not even one American network season.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, but it's done. The story's told.
Slings and Arrows. Slings and Arrows is like 3 seasons, 18 episodes.
Yeah, total.
Yeah, 18 episodes total. And you get a complete arc.
Yeah. It has to end.
It has to end.
And I,
just end it.
Look, I am all for Nev Campbell and Skeet Ulrich. Courtney Cox has more money than fucking God. So I mean, she could do whatever. She's got fucking Friends money.
Right.
And they're all loaded. But hey, man, I'm all for Nev Campbell getting paid. I'm all for Skeet Ulrich getting paid. I love those people. But at some point, I kind of want them to just be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. If you want to keep making it, great.
Go ahead, but not
I'm
without
good.
me.
Yeah.
And I hope that that David Arquette was one of those people. Like I literally last night was like, well, I hope he got killed because at some point he said, I'm not going to make any more after
Which
this.
is sort of what Harrison Ford said.
Well, there you
with
go.
Star Wars. He was like, I think Harrison Ford, who I think honestly
Is like 125 years old.
Yeah, and honestly wanted Han to die in Jedi. He was like, if I come back, it's got to be for a reason that you kill me off. Like something,
Right.
Like I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
an old ass man. I will make Indiana Jones though. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, maybe Arquette was like, yeah, but this is it. Like I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it's a strange thing. And I also think it's stranger. Halloween came back. I mean, it was terrible. Like, you know, that last Halloween,
Terrible.
one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. Carpenter's still alive. He okayed it or whatever, or at least didn't. If he couldn't stop
Right.
it, was like, at least I'm gonna get this money, right?
Right.
Craven's dead, man.
Yeah. Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. And Williamson didn't write this, and you have a clip of Dawson's Creek as a nod to him because you know he created
Right.
that. Leave it alone, man. Wes
Yeah.
Craven died. Like, let it fucking go.
Right.
Make something new.
Yeah, and don't name what your character after Wes Craven and then kill him like a bitch.
Yeah, man. Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
God damn it. Like, So yeah, Scream 2022.
Meh.
Yeah, I mean, Scream.
I have to admit, I wasn't as enraged as you are.
Sure.
But I was kind of like,
Yeah, and I mean, I think part of it is, look, you know, I think the flip would be, while I hate it, the remake of Rosemary's Baby will not have the same effect on me.
Right.
This is not just Scream is not just one of my favorite horror movies. It
Yes.
is one of my favorite movies ever made.
absolutely, I know.
And so it feels like,
I understand.
you know, like what? Just why?
Why? I feel like I had this thought last night when the whole thing was revealed and why he was doing it. I really felt like, are they making fun of Michael?
Yeah, they are. And that's
Like, no, it's not.
it's like, honestly, if you're gonna make fun of me,
Do it better.
Do it better, man. Do it fucking better. Do it so well. Do it like Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson did it. Fucking do it really well. I'm fine with being made fun of if it's fucking good.
But this was lazy.
This was so fucking lazy.
Yeah.
This could have been any fucking generic ass slasher movie. You just happen to have the rights to the title. And honestly, it's worse
Exactly.
than that because you just talk about the original the whole time.
Right.
So these kids, we don't care about them except in terms of who they're related to.
Right.
How is that interesting?
Right.
Oh, fuck, man. I'm getting old. I'm too old for this shit.
We really need to use these more.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
But
was
not for this one.
It was even funny, and then I know we got to wrap up, but it was even funny. Aspen was like, man, like seeing these kids talk about Neve Campbell like she's old
I
is
know.
so absurd. Nothing against Jamie Lee Curtis. She is an older woman.
She's an older woman.
We all know it.
Right.
Jamie Lee knows it. Neve Campbell's like 47, y'all.
Right.
Like, even in the movie, she has babies.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, fuck all, man. Anyway. Yeah, I got nothing left. I'm babbling.
But you're going to Jamaica.
I'm going to Jamaica. Thank God.
Go lie on the beach and forget
about this
Scream.
film. Yes,
Yeah.
I will do that. And then I'll come back. And then not long after, you go to England and Spain.
Yeah.
So we got bright things coming up.
Yep.
And when I do return, we got some movies to review.
Absolutely.
We got some things.
Yeah.
All right.
All
y'all.
right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.